Good evening. Our today's session is on a topic called plagiarism. I already run a pronunciation on that right now on the screen. It's plagiarism. 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 Say no to plagiarism in research work. What is that exactly, and what we are trying to make out of this session today is basically the most important thing when we do a research or when we write our research report, whether it's a big size, small size, PhD, or our master's research, whatever the research work we are doing. We should avoid copy paste from other sources. That's the most important thing. We try to maintain our creativity. We try to ensure that our creativity is presented in the true spirit, or in case if we are taking the references from other sources, we make sure that we give them due acknowledgement. The meaning is we cite them correctly in our research work by telling that I took this concept, or in my creativity concept, so and so researcher has cited, or so and so researcher has mentioned in his report, or in his research work, or his in PhD thesis, or his publication, or any book. So I am taking from there. This is how the subject is, and the subject is very interesting. Who are getting to do some creative writing, creative research work, or it is not about only the getting a master's degree, getting the bachelor's degree, or getting your PhD done. Plagiarism we should avoid in all sector of our life. When you are in working in your profession also, you should try to demonstrate your original creativity. Or if you are taking help of others, try to say that my whole creation, my whole idea which I am putting up right now has been supported by so and so. That is how you are avoiding the plagiarism in your professional world also. So plagiarism is nothing but a culture need to be adopted not only in research works, not only in academics, but in our professional world also. So with this, we'll get into our session now slowly. Quorum will come on the board slowly, so we'll get into that. Our session will cover all these bullets what you see in the index right now. It will be covered. Now, I'm telling you about plagiarism in research work. But remember this point. This plagiarism is a vital component of our professional world also. It is not limited to the boundary of research only, but it is predominantly checked in research work, so it becomes a subject of utmost importance to be discussed in our today's session. So the plagiarism in research is an open challenge to research and development. It is a challenge, so we should avoid it. Say no to plagiarism. A threat to human creativity, especially in the era of AI. When somebody is creating something for you, automatically AI is creating something for you. In that scenario, if you stop your complete creativity and you just copy it from somewhere, so what is your contribution? The question comes here. Copy and paste is a threat to human creativity. And it's having long-lasting impact, there's no doubt in that. Why it is having long-lasting impact? Because one or two times is okay. If you say that and you say that, okay, I just took the help of that, that's fine. But every time you take help of other sources, whether you cite them, you don't cite them, okay, when I'm telling citation means you are referring that I took this from this from this. But if you take every time something from other sources, what is your originality of your work? What actually you did? What is your research? So the point comes here, the most important point comes here is that plagiarism is a risk in research, is a threat in research. That's why say no or avoid the plagiarism in research. So now we'll get into our session more. What is plagiarism in research? Plagiarism is the unethical practice of using words or ideas. It could be planned or it could be accidental. That's a different issue. But using the ideas or words of others, of another author, researcher, or your own previous work without proper acknowledgement. See how critical this analysis is. That you use the idea of other researcher, another author. It could be planned or accidental, like that's a scenario, okay? But when you are using another researcher work or even your own work without proper acknowledgement, that means what you already presented research, you are again reshaping it and presenting it again. And you are not telling that I already did this research before and this is a subsequent research on that. No. So you are producing your idea as it is. So there's no new research has been done in this paper, otherwise it's just a copy paste of your previous work without proper acknowledgement. That means you are using other resources or you are using your own past resources, but you are not giving a proper acknowledgement to do that. And see, for example, what I'm speaking to you right now, and on my each slide what you will see that I'm using a reference from where I took this. Reference, how to see this. You will find references on each of my slides. Getting my point? So what I'm trying to make a point here right now, that the plagiarism in research is a simple concept. Using others' input or using your own input, previous past input, without any acknowledgement, as if it is your work. That is plagiarism. And again, who are on session now, on board round, plagiarism is a culture. Avoiding the plagiarism should be a culture. In our professional world also, it's a big threat. In your office, professional world also, we need to demonstrate our originality, creativity. And if you are taking help of your some colleagues or some previous work, you should say an acknowledgement about that work. That is a due acknowledgement which indicate that what you are presenting in your any research you are presenting in your professional world also. So in that, your research is based on, or it has taken a reference of so and so, okay, and you are acknowledging that in your presentation, or you are acknowledging that your completed works. So acknowledge, basically. Take the help, but acknowledge. So that's about a very basic this thing. The University of Oxford, there again you'll find a reference, okay, on my slide, okay. The University of Oxford defines plagiarism as follows: presenting work or ideas from another source. Presenting work, let me go a little slow so that the definition will be more clear. Presenting work and ideas from other sources as your own, with or without consent of original author. There is no consent. By incorporating it into your work without full acknowledgement. You took the references, you brought the idea, you did not give any acknowledgement that you took it from this place, or this is your resources. Nothing. Just as if it does belong to you. All published and unpublished material, whether in manuscript, printed or electronic form, is covered under this definition, as is the use of material generated wholly or in part through use of artificial intelligence, save when use of AI for assessment has received prior authorization as a reasonable adjustment for students' disability. Plagiarism can also include reusing your own work without citation. Under the regulation of examination, intentional or reckless plagiarism is a disciplinary offence. Under the regulation for examination, intentional or reckless plagiarism is a disciplinary offence. It's a disciplinary offence. You can be barred from your research work. You can be your qualification, your PhD scholarship can be revoked, found to be the ideas of others, and you're not adding any value to it, and without no acknowledgement. So it's a simple thing. References, use. Because see, it is not that You will not use the creativity of others. You will not use the research of others. No, you will use it. But at the same time, you have to make sure one more thing, important thing is that you provide due acknowledgement. Or even yourself, you have done some research 5 years before and you want to do post research after that. Say it, I stopped there in my so-and-so journal, my research was published, or I did my PhD in so-and-so subject, correct? And now I'm doing a postdoctorate research. So I'm just trying to get more better idea on that. You're getting my point? So the point here is that acknowledgements are very important. And similarly, who are on board with us now, let's understand this phenomena. This concept is not only restricted to research. Yes, it is a key note in the research work. A key rule to follow, say no to plagiarism, is a key note to follow in our research work. But in professional world also, it is equally important to ensure our creativity, or we give a due acknowledgement to the others who are working on our research work. Okay, why do students commit plagiarism? Just some research are there, and you can see again a reference in the down from where I took this data. On my each slide, you will see today that there is a reference. So the pressure for good grades, 86.7%. Laziness and poor time management goes 84.9%. And lack of good academic writing skills, 84.9% approximately. So these are just some studies are there which indicate why do students commit plagiarism and what are the percentage of that. Okay. Now, of course, there are multiple types are there in plagiarism. We are going to focus the 10 types of plagiarism in research. 10 types, okay? And what are those 10 types basically? Secondary sources, inaccurate citation. What happened? I will explain you this in a very simple way. You took a research paper when you were doing research. You talked about, say, some agriculture research, okay? And what you did, you have taken the secondary data without referring to the first source. The meaning is that you are taking a reference in your research from my research paper where I talked about, say, any Indian agriculture or something, correct? And I have given the source that Indian agriculture in reference to a paper so and so, or any pilot study done in some villages, okay, as per that source. So what you did in your research work, when you took the data from my research paper, I am a primary source, but you did not mention me. What you did, you took out only that paragraph in my research work which talks about some pilot study in Indian agriculture, and it was mentioned in some research paper, of course supported by a research paper within my paper, and you took that reference and you quoted. But you are not quoted me. Well, I am your primary source of information. I exposed to you to that information. So this is called inaccurate citation. You getting my point? So you directly refer that, you did not refer this, whereas you have got the information from my primary source, my research work. So this is called secondary source inaccurate citation. Citation means reference. That I took this information from this paper of so and so paper, name so, author so and so, that is citation. Got my point? Misleading citation, fabrication, falsification. Invalid source attribution occurs when researcher reference either an incorrect or non-existent source. Though this may be a result of sloppy research rather than intent to deceive, it can also be an attempt to increase the list of references and hide inadequate research. You are putting some research references which are not even existing. Fabricated citations, misleading, falsification. Because at the end, when you want to use the references of research, you want 100 references should be there. Okay, so just to add that, you are adding a reference. You're getting my point? So this kind of things called invalid sources, wrong sources. Even you are not read it. You're just putting up the references. You are putting the references which in reality does not even exist. So that is called the misleading citation, invalid sources. Duplication. This is called self-plagiarism, reuse. My own research, Nitin has done research work in year 2020, okay? And when I'm publishing another paper this time, I change some title or something like that, correct, in that paper, and I'm basically the contents are same, which I presented in 2020. This is duplication. Why? What value you added after 5 years in the world of research? No, nothing. So this is called self-plagiarism, reuse of your own material, just changing the packaging, okay, and reselling the same product. That is duplication. So that is also kind of plagiarism, which is called self-plagiarism. Fourth is paraphrasing. Plagiarism, intellectual theft. This is very interesting. Paraphrasing is taking another person's writing and changing the words, making it appear that an idea or even a piece of research is original when in truth it came from an uncited outside source. Paraphrasing ranges from simple rephrasing to complete rewriting content while maintaining the original idea or concept. There's an idea, there's a concept. You read that concept, but what you did, you did not use the language, the English written there to present that ideas. You write your own English, but the concept, the idea remains same. So as if it's your research. You are, this time what you are doing, you are keeping same CPU inside, just changing something around, okay? So it should look like as if it's your research. No citation, nothing. And this is called intellectual theft. Intellectual property right is straight away applied on this kind of plagiarism. So this is what called the paraphrasing. Writing own English, keeping the same content of other researcher. And no citation, no references, no acknowledgement. Repetitive research. See, this is also same. Duplication, repetitive research. Repetitive research plagiarism is the repeating of data or text from similar study. Using the same data. No new research survey has been done. No survey has been taken up to demonstrate something. Or text from similar study with a similar methodology in a new study without proper attribution. This often happens when studied on a related topic are repeated with similar results, but the earlier research is not cited properly. There should be a proper citation. Okay, you may be doing some extra study, or you are continuing the same research work. No doubt, we have all right to continue the new research work, add-on research work. I'm not denying. But what data has been used previously, and what extra information you added to this? So whatever data used from the previous one should be presented well, should be cited well. That in this table, my first 4 columns and first 5 rows are from my previous research. The new extra information which I collected this time is these 2 columns and 2 rows, which gives an extra information to support my current research. So that is called self-plagiarism, repetitive research. Because you are not, it is like you have not shown that where you stopped before and what extra you are doing right now. Probably it might be possible because you are not adding any value this time. Just for the purpose of publishing a research paper, you are doing it. Actually, there is no new value has been added. Something is just sugar-coated. Replication. 6th point. Replication, author submission or violation. Replication is the submission of a paper to multiple publications, resulting in the same manuscript being published more than once. This can be an ethical infraction, particularly when a researcher claims that a paper is new when it has been published elsewhere. See, that's very true. You cannot keep publishing the same paper at multiple places in the different publications. This is called replication. So this is an ethical infraction because if it has been published at 3 places, 4 places, ultimately originally research is one only. So it doesn't add a count to it. So you paste same information on Facebook, you put same information on Instagram. That is what is happening. You same information on YouTube. But content is same, research is same. What value it is adding? Just more publication platform, that's all. But this is research. It is supported by a lot of data, a lot of references. So this is a replication, which is also a plagiarism. Misleading attribution, inaccurate authorship. Misleading attribution is an inaccurate or insufficient list of authors who contributed to a manuscript. Yes, this is a very big thing actually. This is a very critical thing. That you are a main author and there are 3 co-authors or 2 co-authors, but you missed one. So this is called inaccurate or insufficient list of authors who are originally responsible for this research. There is 1 main author, there are 2 sub-authors, there are 5 sub-authors, that's fine. But if there are 5, you list all 5. This happens when authors are denied credit for partial or significant contribution made to a study, or the opposite, when authors are cited in a paper although no contributions were made. Both way. Misleading attribution. You are making somebody co-author who has not even contributed, and you are removing somebody's name who has contributed in some portion, but he is not a co-author at all. So these are called misleading attribution. Unethical collaboration. What is unethical collaboration? Unethical collaboration happens when people who are working together violate a code of conduct, using written work, outcomes, and ideas that are the result of collaboration without citing the collaborative nature of study and participants involved is unethical. Using others' work without proper attribution is a plagiarism. Unethical, inaccurate authorship. Collaborations happen, works are discussed together, results have been come out together, but you are not citing that collaborative nature. You getting my point? That is again inaccurate authorship. So that collaboration, because of which you have reached there, you are not even a co-author for that. And not even you have cited him also for that. You are not giving acknowledgement for that. So this is called unethical collaboration. It's also a plagiarism. Verbatim plagiarism, copy and paste, intellectual theft. Verbatim plagiarism. Now you don't have you don't have a time to even change the language. Just a copy paste. As the most visible plagiarism, most easily caught plagiarism. Verbatim plagiarism is the copying of another words and works without providing proper attribution, identification, or quotation mark. This can take two forms. First, plagiarism by cite the source they borrowed from, but no indicate that it is a direct quote. In the second, no attribution at all in provided, essentially claiming the words of someone else to be their own word. Just copying. A simple example. Taking a research, I take your research, and I just change the name of author on the top. That's all. Rest all research work belongs to you. Just changing the name of the co-authors. Changing the name of author and co-author for that matter. And maybe at the most changing the subject of the research, is to look something different. But all contents are same. Verbatim plagiarism. That is an intellectual theft. Complete plagiarism. Verbatim plagiarism and complete plagiarism. The example which I was giving you was belonging to complete plagiarism, where you submit in his own name. Okay. So ultimately, all these things are an example of plagiarism, where your own research work is corrupted by these practices or following this kind of plagiarism, which we have discussed from point number 1 to 10. Okay. And how to avoid it is also equally important, because it is a threat to the future of research. Okay, so the best part is the best part is that we avoid plagiarism. Okay, not only in research. Again, I'm repeating this point. Not only in research, but also in our professional world. Giving a proper citation, giving a proper acknowledgement, references from where we use the information to make our work complete. Intentional and unintentional plagiarism. Students can do plagiarism unintentionally. This can happen when they are unaware of what plagiarism is, or don't know or understand that they are plagiarizing. These students may have not understood what plagiarism is, forgotten to record references detail when making notes, left out the references in their assignment by mistake, incorrectly referenced the material, really believed that the work produced was original. So that's why whenever the research are being started, so before start of the research methodologies, plagiarisms, these are all the basic essential courses required to be performed for taking up the research work in ethical manner. And it is not that always there is a finger that there is a plagiarism. No, there is a possibility that the concept of plagiarism is not known. How to do citation is not known. How to acknowledge other works is not known. How to quote others' work as it is not known. So there are possibilities. That's why before the research work start, there are coursework programs are done in the earlier semesters to explain all these concepts. Intended or deliberate plagiarism means that a student has decided to cheat. Such a student might have chosen to. Now, intentional. Okay. Quote, paraphrase or summarize words or ideas or copy, table, graphs, etc. while also choosing not to provide a reference to those show whether the original idea, word or data came from. taking other information, taking other summary sheets and everything. Copy or use another student's work and resubmit it as their own work, or duplicate, the complete plagiarism. Submit an assignment which has been written for them by someone else. That's very important. It means not somebody else has written that. Submit an assignment which has been downloaded from the internet. Yes. Okay. What are the Kareem? We'll take up your question. If anything is there, we will take up. Don't worry. 6 consequences of plagiarism. The consequences of plagiarism can be personal, professional, ethical, and legal. With plagiarism detection software so readily available and in use, plagiarists are being caught at an alarming rate. Plagiarists are caught at an alarming rate. Remember this point. Once accused of plagiarism, a person will most likely always be regarded with suspicion. Ignorance is not an excuse. Plagiarists include academics, professionals, students, journalists, authors, and others. See, that's why I said it's not only limited to research. Journalists, authors, and others, professionals. So plagiarism is just a subject being taught or being discussed during the research work, but no, it is across your life, professional life, across your professional career. What are the 6 consequences? I just presented them, but they are sourced from the references there. Okay, you can find them there. Okay. So what are that? Destroyed student reputation. Okay. Destroyed professional reputation. Yes. Destroyed academic reputation. Good. Legal repercussions. Yes. Monetary repercussion. Yes. Plagiarized research. Ultimately, honestly speaking, we all are researchers in our life. If I'm doing a cheating, I'm doing a plagiarism, I may be penalized legally, monetary, I may be banned for some time, that's fine. But ultimately, who loses in this whole sequence? The research is lost. Ultimately, who wins? Nobody wins. Who loses ultimately is the research foundation is lost. Imagine, definitely if you are doing a research, you are putting efforts. Okay, you are putting efforts. So that means your time has gone, your money has gone into it. But just by some plagiarism not taken care, intentionally or unintentionally, you will not be able to complete your research, or it will be delayed. But ultimately, that research, which is the foundation of society, why we do research? For the growth of the globe. It is not that I am very happy to write a degree, doctorate degree in front of my name, that's one point. But your research add a value to society, to the globe, and to the growth of the globe. So if your research is lost, the globe has lost. So it's a bigger picture, my dear friends. It's not a simple thing. It's not about a degree, qualification, no. And if you are not avoiding plagiarism, even if you get your research done, when you go to your professional world, your professional world will be lost. So that's the reason we have to be very cautious that we do a right work. We do a right work, okay? And we avoid the plagiarism. Avoiding plagiarism. Be organized and start early. Don't be hurried to the rush. Don't put everything at the end. Then you want to have a shortcuts. Record information resources from whatever information you are getting recorded. Sometimes it happens that we don't record. We got the information. So we write the content, we write the central idea, we write the concept, but we don't write the source. Write the source. Write the paraphrasing, reword information, what you are changing. Write it that. And cite them that this was told like this, but the same concept with my study is being looked over in this concept. References all resources, don't even miss. Even if you have talked to somebody, like what is ongoing, my research work is there. When I talk to farmers, I take their name actually. Because it may not be documented, our talks are not documented, some written agreement is not there. But when I take the information, I take their names. And I write what they told me. Their telephone number. So bring all the references. Ask your teacher and librarian to help you out about this. So these are all the methodologies which you can definitely use it to avoid the plagiarism, because just plagiarism is bad is not sufficient. Why it is bad, we understood. How to avoid that, we understood that also, correct? And now we are still understanding it, that what will be the benefit out of it when we don't do that. Steps to avoid plagiarism. Be organized, what we saw there in the previous slide. Students are most tempted to cut corners and plagiarism when they leave their assessment task to last minute. Start early to give yourself plenty of time to do your research and write your paper. Don't worry, I wrote it students here because it is from that references, but I take myself also in the same place. I'm also a student. So give your sufficient time, be organized. Don't rush for 11th hours. Take good study notes, yes. Paraphrase or reword information. Do not copy word for word or just subtitle random word. You must also change the sentence structure also. Try to make it, and first acknowledge it, but then put your concept over there. Always reference. If you need help, ask the teachers and librarian, whatever you want to do. Why it is important to avoid plagiarism? Plagiarism constitutes a breach of academic integrity and represent substandard scholarship. Okay. Plagiarism can have lasting impact on future career, regardless of whether it was intentional or not. If you are duplicated, if you are replicated, if you have not added a value to your research, so it has a long-lasting impact. What your research papers are helping. By the way, the concept came to my mind right now. Just that I will work that, and I will try to share with you guys in the coming session anytime. That I really want to see the world researches, whatever researches have been done, how much researches are really fruitful to use it. They are not only for citation, but how much research are there. That studies I will try to find out, and I will try to share in the next session. That how many research are really fruitful. The responsibility to avoid plagiarism belongs to the students or researcher. Yes, exactly, because we are the key player in that. Plagiarism can be avoided by learning how to correctly acknowledge an idea, word, image, data that belong to somebody else. Acknowledge. I will go back to the first slide at the end so that you will understand why I quoted that slide. Plagiarism detection and a prevention are primary for researcher. That you can read it this here. Okay, but there are softwares available for plagiarism detection. Turnitin, Scriber, Grammarly, Qtext, CopyLeaks, Paperpal. Okay, so there are softwares available where your thesis is checked before it is accepted or something. Correct. The most important point I will tell you. I know these softwares are there who will be doing a job of policing on you and policing on us. But in the era of AI, I will give a command to AI and I will ask AI, please generate the information for me, checking that it does not get caught in plagiarism detection softwares. Okay? Which is unethical. I should not give that command to AI because I'm telling AI to cheat for myself. But in the coming era of AI, catching the plagiarism will also be a challenge. Originality will also be a challenge. So, a word of caution here is try to maintain the best creativity in your work, because best creativity represents a best human brain. And humans are blessed with a good brain. We only copy routine activities. We do not copy the research. And we should not copy the research because otherwise we are not adding any value to our research or the total globe research pooling. So that's why softwares are there, everything is there. But the culture of plagiarism can only be supported. Culture of avoiding the plagiarism, it can be only supported when we believe, we trust in our creativity, point number one, and we are accepting to acknowledge ant to elephant resources used from any other source. Again, I'm repeating, we are happy to acknowledge, we are open to acknowledge the efforts received from some sources from size of ant to elephant. So that's why plagiarism is very important, and I would like to just go back to I'm concluding my session right now, okay, and I'm just trying to go back to my first slide, and I will read for you guys and then I will read. Mahatma Gandhi believed that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. These online sessions are my humble attempt to do just that, giving back to the society that has shaped me by empowering the next generation. Giving back to society by empowering the next generations. The same society which has shaped me. So these are the plagiarism and all. They are the concept. In concept, we all should say no to plagiarism in research.